Hey guys, recently we've been talking a lot about content creation for marketing, and that you can do it in many different forms and many mediums. One thing we have not yet talked about is the realm of live streaming content, and then on demand from that. And so joining us to talk about that is Jonathan Harrelson.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Jonathan Harrelson. I'm a content creator. I create on Twitch. I create on YouTube. I create written content like blogs and stuff like that. And yeah, super stoked to be here. Super stoked to be speaking with you, Tim, and hopefully giving your audience some great insights on live streaming and content creation in general.
Cool. Jonathan, I'm so glad you're here. And this conversation is actually really, really interesting to me because it actually falls outside my comfort zone. Like when you're in a B2B world, when you're working, it's like, oh, it'd be so cool if I can do X, Y, and Z as a passion project and find content for people to discover. But it's actually quite a lot of work. And you're kind of like jack of all trades, where you've kind of figured out a happy medium on like where to do things live, where to do things on demand, and you've kind of figured out all the tools to do that. And so today, I would love to kind of hear a little bit about like what you're doing from a live streaming point of view and all that goes into like what genre you're using, like how are you finding your audience, and then how you're promoting it. And then after we do that, we'll talk about some of the on-demand stuff they're working on, like podcasts. And then for the second half of today's call and conversation, I would love to hear about like just technology or your setup for equipment. And there's a bunch of people like myself who are maybe just getting into this. So like, what does it look like for starters? And then as you get more advanced. So let's just start with you. Like, how long have you been doing this? Like, what kind of videos are you creating? And where can we find you usually?
So usually, if you see me live streaming, I'm live streaming on Twitch. I've been streaming on Twitch for, oh my goodness, I think about 6 or 7 years now. I don't consider myself a huge content creator. It's really a grind, and I've really started focusing on trying to create content outside of Twitch within the last, I want to say, year or two. Just because inherently live streams, they're not very searchable. You can't really
Mm-hmm.
find live streams unless you're, searching. And especially when it comes to Twitch, Twitch prioritizes their live streams by the amount of viewers. So the more viewers you have, the higher up on the list that you're going to be for that particular genre or game that you're playing. Um, with that being said, I am moving away from gaming content creation. I have a new project launching in a few weeks, geared towards men's mental health, which is going to take me pretty much completely away from gaming. I'll still do it on the side and create, small clips of content, but it's not going to be like my primary form of content creation. So it's going to be a podcast. It'll be a video podcast very similar to this one, but I'm going to be live streaming the podcast to the various platforms, whether it's Twitch and YouTube. There's a couple other ones that I'm looking into, but searchability with live streaming is really the biggest hurdle. And
Yeah.
that's where you have to kind of branch out and know how to do like some video editing techniques and some sound engineering and stuff like that. So you really do have to be a jack of all trades when it comes to this type of content creation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think you're kind of understanding how different platforms promote your content based on algorithm is really important, right? So I think you mentioned like Twitch. Like I've always associated Twitch primarily with the gaming audience. I'm not sure if they go much beyond that since they're so much tied to video game platforms as well. So that makes a lot of sense, right? I think building your community and getting active your community so they can discover you or follow you and you can schedule or make them aware when you're going live. Is that typically how you organically create kind of awareness and demand for your live streams?
Yeah, it's that, and it's also being consistent. So having a consistent schedule for your live streams is huge because that gives reliability for your audience to know, okay, I'm going to be on, he's going to be on at this time, every week or every day, depending on your streaming schedule. And, you just got to be like clockwork logging in. And then the other thing is the other challenge, especially like with gaming content, I play pretty much the same two games, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. So that content can seem to be really stale. So you have to find creative ways to try to make that content a little bit more interesting, whether it's creating challenges for yourself. Like, for instance, like I play Call of Duty. So it's like, okay, if I'm playing multiplayer, can I get 30 kills in a game? Can I beat my personal best? Or, let me run around with nothing but pistols or something like that. So really just trying to create a challenge. Or if you play multiple games, there's a content creator that I follow called Dr. He goes by the name of Dr. Disrespect, and he runs what he calls triple threat challenges. So he'll be like, okay, I'm going to get a win in solos on Call of Duty, Fortnite, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
can he do it? So these are kind of methods that gaming content creators use to try to keep their audience engaged, try to keep their content a little bit more fresh, and try to create certain variations of their content, even though at the end of the day the content is the same. The goal for each piece of content is a little bit different.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, you said a few things there that I really want to kind of pick apart and kind of double down on because it's fantastic information. And I think it's actually directly related to even the B2B world, right? And you said something around like schedule and routine, where
Mhm.
you have a dependable rollout schedule so people know when to log in. You know, if I think about even the B2B or even coaching world, right, where let's say I set a schedule where every Thursdays, I'm going to be online from 8 to 9 Central, let's say, and that's going to be an open QA for all things, let's say technology. And maybe I'll have a guest that day. And maybe on every Friday, it's going to be a creative discussion, right? And maybe on Mondays, it's around marketing and demand gen. Building a following and having a regular schedule where you're going to talk about things allows people to be prepared as well. Again, like in my example, there is more of like B2B, but like, again, if you know you're going to show up on Wednesday because you're talking about web marketing and SEO, like you'll come prepared with questions, or to your earlier point around like kind of drumming up interest from an audience, like you start Wednesday is SEO day, and people like the SEO tribe will know when to kind of pitch in and kind of expect certain people to show up. So I think that's a really, really good point. I'm kind of curious. So you talk about Twitch and how they kind of the algorithm kind of bubbles up your visibility for YouTube Live or even like other platforms. I know Facebook does as well. I'm a little less familiar with that, but for YouTube, how do they increase your visibility? Is it similar in terms of how many watches or how many concurrent viewers, and that pushes you up, or?
Again, it's kind of the same thing. It's concurrent viewers, but where your value comes in, like on a YouTube live stream, YouTube actually creates a video on demand that's stored on your channel at that point, which you can then go in and update the title of the video. It becomes basically a standard video at that point where you run your standard SEO practices on the title, on the tags, on the video description and everything like that. And where you get your real value out of it is the residual visits from after the live stream goes live versus Twitch, depending on your relationship with Twitch, whether you're a non-affiliate, an affiliate, or a partner. Non-affiliates and non-partners, those videos, those live streams are stored on the platform for only 14 days. And then if you're an affiliate or you're a partner, it's stored for, I believe, 30 or 45 days at that point. But that content, it does not live in perpetuity or as long as your account is live, versus YouTube does a really good job of keeping that content living in perpetuity as long as your account is live and you don't have any strikes against you or anything. And it's a great way to monetize and supplement as well, giving you the ability to post like affiliate links or like donation links or whatever, whatever your like requirement is, like, your call to actions. It's way more prominent on YouTube than it is on Twitch. So that's why, I stream to both Twitch and YouTube. Like this new podcast that I'm doing, I'm going to be streaming to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. And, you said you associate Twitch with gaming, and a lot of people do that. If you look at 95% of the people out there, they associate Twitch with gaming. And that's fair. Twitch started out as a company called Justin TV, and it was basically this kid, Justin, who was basically live streaming his gaming content. And that's kind of where it got built from. Since Amazon has purchased it, Amazon has really started to push it as a marketing platform as well. I mean, they host AWS events on there, various AWS events. I mean, they even have like Thursday night football for NFL because they own the Thursday night pack. Amazon owns the Thursday night package now. So they're really trying to broaden the horizons of what Twitch can do and get people to think outside the norm of Twitch. And to be honest, the biggest genre on Twitch right now is like just chatting or IRL. So it's not even gaming. It's like people going out eating, or it's groups of friends just hanging out and talking and, just doing stupid stuff. And people come in and watch that. Like hot tub streams was like the big meta on Twitch. And, that's just, I call it smut because it's, these I'm not going to go into it, but
Yeah.
but that's the audience that's the audience that some of those streamers attract. So you have to look at it that way too. Okay, where is my audience going to be? If
Right.
my audience associates Twitch with gaming, then that's probably not the best place for me to be as a marketer.
Yeah.
Versus, maybe I should stick to YouTube. YouTube has the better platform, the better algorithm. Because guess what? Once you have your VOD on there, now you can show up in suggested results. You can show up in search results, and you can also show up in Google search results if you have all your SEO stuff done. So
Yeah.
from a B2B standpoint, YouTube takes it over Twitch, but you can still live stream. I watch plenty of creators live stream their podcasts. A content creator group that I follow called Think Media. This is exactly what they do, and they utilize YouTube to build their brand and to help others build their content creation brands. Mm-hmm. And YouTube is probably the biggest powerful tool when it comes to a content creator's job.
Yeah, and actually, that's a wonderful segue to moving from like live events or webinars or streams to on demand. Because you're right, I think living on perpetuity and being able to monetize long form content with that's evergreen is really where like you want to go. You and I kind of talked, when we were kind of prior to this call around just analytics. I think something that really interested me is like, when you looked at the traffic post the event was on demand, you're kind of looking at the volume of traffic and you're making some tweaks, whether it's duration of the video or whatnot, to kind of monitor when spikes happen and noticing trends. Can you share some of those insights with us?
Yeah. So one of the biggest thing when it comes to analytics with YouTube is it also connects in with Google Analytics. You don't get that with Twitch on top of that. So you get a more granular look at the data. They have a really robust analytics platform in the creator dashboard, and you can make tweaks. You can tweak the stream titles, or you can tweak the video titles. You can actually do A/B testing on like the thumbnails and stuff. These are things that you cannot do on really any other platform. And that's really what makes it powerful. So for me, I might go a week testing one thumbnail and then change the thumbnail next week. There's services that you can use to kind of run it automatically, so you don't have to go in and manually change it. But in the interest of budget friendliness, I just go in and do it myself and then monitor the week over week results. But yeah, being able to do those things and then, figuring out, okay, what different types of content work. Okay, I have this wonderful podcast. We had a really good 3-minute or 60-second conversation. Let me create a short form content off of that I can share on a vertical device like a phone. So I can put it on TikTok. I can put it on YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts has probably been the biggest revelation to me in my channel personally. On average, my YouTube Shorts get between 700 and 1,500 views, just depending on the type of tags and stuff and the time that you post. But it's a great way to get mass exposure in a very, very short time. And I'm talking about like those 700 to 1,500 views come within the first hour of posting it, if you post it at the right time. And posting at the right time depends on your audience, right?
Right.
You don't want to be the gaming audience posts is usually flipping through their phones, a little bit later at night, versus your business audience, your B2B audience is probably going to be flipping through it not as late. And when I say late, it's like, 11, 12 o'clock my time. That's when I get the best results. But a B2B audience, you might be looking at, 6 or 7 o'clock, 6 or 7 o'clock my time. While people are getting dinner, sitting at the table, doing their nightly routines, what have you. That's really when the B2B crowd might actually get to view it, get all those views in. So it's a powerful like top of funnel action to use the YouTube Shorts. And just be mindful that like with YouTube Shorts, you have 1 minute. With TikTok, you have 3 minutes. I think with Instagram Reels, I think you have up to 3 minutes as well. So you have to be mindful of how long of the content that you need and then what platform you're going to be posting it on.
And typically, are those like short form videos just straight edits out of a current video, or do you do additional post production on top of that? So you kind of lead in with the intro or something to give it context. Like, does it matter?
It depends. So it depends on the situation, right? If we're talking about like content creation for streamers, right? You might lead in with, you might not want to miss this, or there's a editing technique that a lot of TikTokers and YouTubers who create YouTube shorts use, where it looks like a seamless loop. So they lead in kind of like with the ending, and then they start back at the beginning, and then it cuts off, the actual video cuts off right at the end, so that it looks like a smooth transition. When the video restarts, you're catching it, it looks like you're catching it all the way through the end, and then it's restarting again. So there's different techniques of doing it. I haven't quite mastered it yet, but I'm working on it. Gaming content, like I said, for me, it's pretty much just kind of a straight edit, add a couple overlays with my channel information and stuff on it, and just send it out the door. I could get real elaborate with post-production techniques, like taking it into, I use DaVinci Resolve for video editing. I could take it in there, create slow-mo sequences, zoom in, zoom outs, things like that. But for me, I just want to get content out quick. And so I'm just literally, I have a template that I use. I have my overlay set, and I just replace the videos, export, send it out. It takes me 5 to 10 minutes to cut and edit a complete like YouTube short, a 30-second YouTube short.
And that's interesting. So that clever editing where it basically is on endless loop without the viewer realizing it until they say, hey, I've seen this already before. I'm assuming that like helps your Google Analytics, right? It's like you're getting now repeat views. Or does it actually kind of hurt you at some point?
It doesn't. It actually helps a lot, because each view counts as a view, so it kind of helps boost your numbers. And the more so the way the YouTube algorithm works is, the more views you get, the more that your video is suggested, because that means it's relevant. It works just like Google search. The more views you get, the more the algorithm says, hey, this video is relevant to what this person is looking for, what they're looking at, or what interests them. So the more views, the better. And if they're rewatching the videos and over and over and over, that's telling the algorithm, hey, this is really resonating with the view, this particular viewer. This particular viewer likes these type of videos. Let's go ahead and push this video to other viewers who fit this same profile.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And earlier, I remember you mentioned like finding different platforms to upload content, right? You mentioned Instagram as amongst others. Now, when you do your podcast that you're coming up, whether it's a VOD, like video or not, I'm assuming that there's obviously you're going to post a video to video-friendly platforms. Are you also going to be exporting like audio-only ones to like Apple Podcast or other?
Oh yeah.
Like Spotify or something like that?
100%. So I have another podcast that I do as well. It's called A Gaming Moment. And it's, again, gaming content. So it's gaming, streaming, technology, content creation, just anything around gaming and content creation and gaming content creation. And we do live streams to YouTube and Twitch. We're also recording the audio where we have a high quality audio file that gets spit out at the end with both of our tracks are different audio files. So we can take that into our audio editing software and delete okay, somebody coughed, or, we record from our houses. My kid came in the middle of a quiet piece, and you hear my kid come in. So we can cut that little piece out in post-production. And then we can do some post-production audio sweetening, like, noise reduction, bring up the bass a little bit, really make our voices and the audio really stand out, and remove any kind of background noise where we can. So being a podcaster and a video podcaster on top of that, you have to think about, your audio quality for your audio podcast, and you have to think about your audio and video quality for your video podcast. Yeah. And you got to think about, okay, how do I do the content syndication for all of this? Where do I send all this? So hosting platforms, and, like I said, being a content creator, you really have to be a jack of all trades. Because as a podcaster, I'm a video editor, I'm an audio engineer. We have a website that we maintain. So I'm a web developer, which is kind of what I do during my day job anyway. I'm a marketer. I'm a social media influencer, or social media manager. I'm also a content writer. I'm a producer. You have to wear all of these hats, especially if you're like a 1 or 2 man show. It can be a lot, and it turns into like a full-time and a half job.
Hmm. So how, so I know one of the things that kind of gets in people's way in terms of like getting velocity is all of the work required. Right. Like for me, like I'm looking at these videos, I'm realizing, oh, man, so it's quite a lot of work, right, to do this. And for me to think about the editing that's required, that whether it's a short, which is one edit, and there's obviously cleaning up audio for the main ones, and then uploading to various platforms and making sure the metadata there and it's SEO friendly. Like, what would you say is the average time you spend on, let's say, one piece of video? Let's just assume the videos, let's say 20 minutes, and you want to leverage that for a short, audio formats as well. Like, how much time do you spend uploading to all of your properties?
Okay, so I'll give you an example of like the A Gaming Moment podcast. So we probably spend about 2 hours a week gathering topics to talk about. That's scouring social media, scouring Google for latest news topics and trends. We take those topics, we look at, okay, what is their traffic value, right? What are going to be our two main pieces of content that we talk about? Because the way we structure our podcast is we have a segment called that does two main things that we include in that's like our episode title, right? And then we have a general banter section, which is, smaller topics that are less SEO optimized, where people aren't really searching for as much. So it's taking these topics, going to like Google Trends, getting the data, running the analysis on that. So all of that right there, just getting the content curated for one episode is probably 4 to 5 hours a week.
Hmm.
And then when we record the podcast, our podcasts are about an hour long. So it's like we're on for an hour before, kind of going over the podcast script and making sure everything is good. And when I say script, it's more like an outline, but making sure that we understand the topics that we're going to be talking about, because we want to sound knowledgeable. So we're on for an hour before we even start recording. And then when we record, we're usually recording for like an hour and a half, because, we'll have certain areas where we're like, I didn't like the way that sounded. Let me restart that. So then you're looking at like an hour and a half there. So that's 2.5. So you're up to 6.5, almost 7 hours, of just that. Okay. Now we have it. Now we have the podcast, recorded. Now we got to edit it. It takes about 2 hours to edit a 1 hour long podcast, to cut out all the dead space, all the mess ups. And as you edit, you become more and more proficient at it, and you figure out little tricks so that when you're looking at the podcast audio waveforms, like, we might do a snap in the microphone to create a high waveform, and we know, okay, this is a bad section. Visually, we can cut from here to here.
That's smart.
And so we reduce our editing times that way. And then, okay, we have it edited. The hosting platform that we use a hosting platform called Buzzsprout. And when we upload the MP3 audio to Buzzsprout and we publish it, it handles all of our content syndication for us. So it automatically pushes out to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, every podcasting platform, Stitcher, that you can imagine. So that handles of the vast majority of our content syndication as it pertains to getting our podcast onto the multiple platforms. So choosing a podcast host in this case is huge, making sure that they do the syndication and stuff for you, and they give you an RSS feed if you want to use it to somewhere else. And then from there, I take the podcast, I run it through an AI program that gets the transcriptions done. Then you have to read through the transcription, make sure that words are spelled correctly. Everything looks good. So again, you're having to listen and do the transcription. So that's another hour. So you're up to 9 hours. And now you have to do your social media promotion. So I do 3 social media. I schedule 3 social media posts per week for each new episode. So I use a platform like Hootsuite or Buffer to be able to schedule those out. I make sure I include images with each one, and I try to change the images with each one. So I use Canva to create the images really easily, export them out because they have beautiful templates, and all I have to do is just kind of change a few things here and there. So creating the images, you might be looking at another hour. Creating getting the tweets or the social media posts put together, that's another hour. Thank God for Chat GPT now, because that helps save a lot of time. So I mean, all in all, when you look at it, and that's not even this isn't even including like, okay, we have all these topics. I'm going to create a blog around each topic to post to the website. So not even including that, you're up to pretty close to like 12 hours a week, just scripting, editing, publishing, promoting.
That's awesome. And that's overwhelming for people hearing for the first time, but actually it makes a lot of sense. And I can definitely see how the more you do it, you kind of pick up some shortcuts to kind of give yourself some notes and audible cues. So that's really smart. I hope to kind of give myself some like shortcuts as well as I kind of go through this process. Cool. So let's kind of transition to the second part of this conversation, which is around like the tools or equipment you would need. And I know that you had shared with me like a web page that you had actually set up with all of those. And actually, I don't mind. Do you mind sharing that with us on screen, and then we kind of walk us through? I'm kind of curious, like how you would pick and choose maybe something for like a beginner versus not. Because again, we're always looking at cost of entry to, this livelihood of content creation.
Yeah, you can definitely get by with some fairly budget equipment or some bare minimums. So I created a blog on agamingmoment.com. It's 5 budget buys to enhance your content quality. Where you really want to spend your money, especially if you're creating audio-based content like a podcast or video-based content, even a video-based content like this podcast, if you will, you want to spend your money where it matters the most. So obviously having a good quality mic is a huge priority. There's so many like smaller podcasts that I've listened to where it sounds like they're talking in another room because their mic is not great, or they're using a headset microphone like the headset that I have on right now, and the audio quality for those is just not there. So like my personal mic that I use an Audio Technica AT2020, and those are like $99 now. So it's like $100. I believe you're using a blue Yeti, which is like $89 or something now. And these are solid entry level condenser microphones that produce really great sound. The other thing is like, if you're doing video content, lighting is a huge thing. I mean, if I turned off my 2 lights right here, it would look really bad because it's the glow of the computer screen in front of me. And I have a green screen in the back for a lot of my other content creation. So that green screen would show up because it's not lit well enough. Lighting can adjust the mood of a video. Like if I turned off my left light, I would have this light right here and I'd have more of a shadow right here. And it would give it a little bit different kind of effect. So lighting can really change the mood and the atmosphere of the videos that you're shooting. A good quality camera. I'm not saying you got to go out and buy like this high-end cinema camera. A good DSLR, like a Canon EOS M50 or a Rebel even, you can get a decent quality DSLR camera for like $250-$300. And like Canon has come a long way in the last couple of years, creating free software for you to be able to use the camera as a webcam, which is what I do. The camera that I'm using on this stream today is a Canon EOS M50, but I do have other webcams that I have available, which, if like $500 is out of your budget, because that's about $500 or $600 is about what the Canon EOS M50 is. You can definitely get a standard webcam. The one that I highly recommend is the Logitech C920 series. They range from like $50 to $70, depending on the time of year that you're getting them. And they have really good color quality. Their autofocus is really good. It's not better than like a DSLR camera, because the DSLR camera, you can change the lenses out. So you get a different depth of field. Many of us in the business world, we use the fake blurry backgrounds on the Zoom videos and stuff. Well, this does it automatically, and you don't get that harsh edge around your body. Yeah. It just looks natural. It just looks natural. It looks really nice. So again, upping the quality of your content just by making a few small adjustments. And then finally, like workflow tools. There's a ton of different things that you can do from a workflow standpoint. Like if you're doing live streaming and you have different scenes, like, okay, I have a desktop scene where I'm showing my desktop with my headshot because I'm doing a presentation. okay, instead of going to my streaming software and clicking on it, I have a tablet underneath my monitor here, that runs an app called Touch Portal. And what Touch Portal is it's basically like a giant macro. It's like a thing that creates macros, and you can set it up to run different programs. I use it to streamline my video editing process. I use it to streamline my my audio editing process and my graphics editing process, because I can do everything on my tablet, just boom, 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 boom. And then having a good quality mouse that has multiple buttons on it. I have my buttons mapped for my video editing software where, I have a forward and back button on my thumb. The forward button trims everything from the playhead to the front, and then my back button trims everything from the playhead to the back. So I'm not having to sit here and fiddle around with hotkeys on my keyboard. So learning, getting your environment set up and getting your workflows set up is crucial in saving, 30 seconds saved for every keystroke is huge, or 5 seconds saved for every keystroke, instead of trying to have to fumble around with like Control Shift Z or Control Shift P, trying to fumble around with that. Just having a one button to click it will dramatically reduce how much time you spend like doing editing or anything like that. So just having these workflow tools really helps. And Touch Portal is free for everybody. They have a free version and they have a paid version. There's limitations on the free version, but most people should be able to get by with the free version. And all you need is like an iPad, iPhone, Android tablet, Android phone. It works on both devices. And try it. It'll save your life, man.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, I want to thank you for just this awesome conversation today. The blog you had mentioned with your list of equipment, I'll put that in the video description below. Jonathan, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Daygon07, Daygon07. That is my gaming handle. You can also visit my website, jonathan-harrelson.com, and be able to get your information over to me that way. Or just Google Jonathan Harrelson. I'm like all on the front page. So, SEO and everything. So yeah, appreciate you bringing me on, Tim. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to Tim. He'll relay the information to me, and you might see me on the podcast again, trying to answer those questions for you.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care.